Let's do this. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Coffee with Cagnetta. And I am so excited today because I have the Kathleen Cannon, CEO of the United Way, but just amazing friend and person in our community and fellow New Jerseyite, which I don't know what it is, but we keep having New Jersey folks in here. So, Kathleen, welcome.
Andy, thanks. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the coffee. And Jersey rocks. It's just that kind of a thing.
It does. But we were talking about sports before we started because you're from New Jersey, right?
Yes. I'm from Bergen County, New Jersey, which is super north, right outside of New York City. I was born in Teaneck, New Jersey, grew up in a little tiny town. It's actually called the Village because it was so small, called the Village of Richfield Park. But it's by Hackensack, Paramus, Teaneck, Fort Lee. So some people might know those markers. But yeah, I grew up there, small little Irish Italian neighborhood. And
weren't they all?
I think so, especially in North Jersey, right? Especially. I grew up a Giants fan, poor Giants, oh my goodness. But I moved here in 1986. So I went to school in Pennsylvania, about an hour and a half, a small college called Moravian College.
Yes, of course.
Right by Lehigh University, which is where you went. And then I drove down here to Fort Lauderdale in 1986 because I graduated college and I wanted to go to grad school. And I got accepted to Buffalo, Syracuse, and Nova. Now, back in the day, back in 1986, there was no internet. So I looked at graduate schools from brochures in our guidance department in my college. And at Nova, there were students sitting on the beach with their textbooks. And I was like, Buffalo, Syracuse, or Fort Lauderdale. And I was like, I'm going to go to Fort Lauderdale. I knew not a single human being down here. I packed my car with my clothes, tied a mattress to the roof of my car, which is insane when you think of going from New Jersey to Fort Lauderdale. I had not secured housing. I had to get into the campus by Friday by 4 p.m. And I drove like a hot mess. I got to Fort Lauderdale. Nova was nowhere near the beach at all. I drove into the parking lot. My air conditioning had broke in Georgia. Now, this is July. It is so hot. So when I get to the campus, I know I only have a short amount of time, right, to get in there to register, see if I can even get housing. So it was so hot, I cracked my windows, and it was blazing sun. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, but who knew that Fort Lauderdale, it can look like that, and it still rains every afternoon. So I come back out, an hour and a half later or 2 hours later, and it had poured, and the stuff in my car was wet. I did have this tarp over the mattress, but that didn't really work out. However, so that's like literally how I got here. And I was just going to stay for a couple of years to go to grad school and go back to Jersey. But then you start to incorporate your life, right? And you start to, I want to be a social worker. I'm getting my first job was at Henderson. Back then it was Henderson Mental Health Center. Now it's Henderson Behavioral Health Center. But you kind of incorporate yourself. But I'm a Jersey girl, and I think I still have that grit and that drive and a little edge, and but I'm proud to be from Jersey.
Well, it has served you well, I think. It served all of us well, right? So we're down here and we're trying to make our mark. And I didn't get down here in '86, but I was at Lehigh right across the river in '86, and and you've become a Dolphins fan.
I am a Dolphins fan.
A Dolphins fan.
I am a diehard Dolphins fan. Giants is still my second team.
Right.
But I guess when I got here in '86, I wasn't sure I was going to stay, but I just started the local flavor, right? I said to myself, all right, I want to learn Fort Lauderdale. I want to see what this is about. I went to a Dolphin game. My mother tells me the story that back in the day, now a lot of people are not going to listen to this, not going to remember this, but the Sears catalog is how you shopped often. This is how my family shopped, the Sears catalog. And I picked out what I wanted, some things for Christmas. And my mother said I picked out a Miami Dolphin jersey. Now I was a wee kid. So she said the first jersey that I ever asked for, a sports thing I ever asked for, happened to be Miami Dolphin jersey. So I don't know if that sparked something, but I am a diehard Dolphin fan. I'm a Panther fan. I'm a Heat fan. Marlins fan. I am a Floridian now. I have been
Yeah.
here since 1986, and my son was born in 97, and they did not want to be a faraway grandparents, so they moved here in 97. I have a really small family. But I'm a Floridian and I'm a Dolphin fan, and I'm devastated this season because I did think that this was going to be the season that we were going to keep advancing. And alas, we're not.
We're not.
We're not.
We're not. But they have some good players, and you're friends with a couple of
I
players. So
am.
we surprised you with.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. For my birthday, this is my 60th birthday on February 22nd. And we had an event, United Way. And of course, I'm sure folks that are listening know that Andy's on the board of United Way and has been the chair of our board, and is just he and Allison are just passionate um, philanthropists, and they lend their expertise and their influence, not just to United Way, but so many others. But you know that we had an event that night, had this fashion show, which is a really fun Women United. It's not a serious fashion show. It's kind of a fun fashion show.
Sure.
And it kind of kicks off our mayor's gala. And you guys with the staff surprised me at the end of that event, because it was my birthday, with Engel. He came
Yes.
and I had no idea he was backstage.
No.
I had no idea that he was going to escort me out at the last walk and celebrate. He gave me a dolphin helmet, and it was so exciting and it was so fun. And I followed the NFL Man of the Year, right? Because that's who from the NFL is making a difference in their communities. And he was the Dolphins Man of the Year. So it was really special and really cool.
It was. And we do have fun doing charity work. But let's talk about having an impact.
Yeah.
I mean, how important it is, and how your career is literally, you came from the world of AIDS. You were
Yes,
with
I
it.
did. What was the first ever social worker case managers for AIDS care and HIV care. And I am a social worker by trade. I have an
Mhm.
MSW and an LCSW, and I really was going to spend my career in direct social services. So family by family, person by person, a specific mission, and doing the best that I can for that community. But at United Way, now I am still a social worker, but I'm a social worker for the entire community. I can look at Broward County with the staff and the team and the community and the board, look at our entire community, and how do we layer human service and business strategy over the most pressing areas and needs. So I'm essentially still a social worker, just it's a macro social worker at this point.
But you're an integrator. I mean,
Mhm.
we talk a lot about, like, I say a few things about the United Way. One of the things I say is, I was asked to serve by one of
Mhm.
the board members, probably over a decade ago, I felt like I was being called to the Pentagon of nonprofits.
Right.
That the United Way is the place where the community looks to get a lot of things done.
Right.
And
Right.
whether we're leveraging other nonprofits or we're doing direct
Mhm.
services, uh, and you've changed the United Way over the years. I mean, we have come up with our own programs that have launched nationally,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I think, Andy, when I came to the United Way, I was at another organization, but I came from like a collective impact focus. Like, how do you make the greatest impact? So I didn't come with a fundraising background, which was historically the CEO for United Way came from a fundraising background.
Right.
I came from an impact background. However, I love the fundraising piece, and you will share, but how well we're doing in that area. But I came with a lens of how do we create real, long-standing social change. So we really changed how we do our impact at United Way, and we're still funding wonderful organizations, like 130 programs in the community. But there was also a need for new programs, new collective impact models that others can model and scale up. So we started doing services ourselves that weren't being done. And we're a convener, right? So we bring, like you use the example of the Pentagon. So we bring the brightest minds and industry experts to help solve those issues. So could be business leaders, it's nonprofit leaders, it's stakeholders in the community, it's philanthropists, it's government, it's legislators, it's policymakers, it's people that we serve. We bring all those folks together to really create change and build strategy of how to solve social issues. And giving back is something that every person can do. Doesn't always matter the dollar amount. You're a philanthropist if you are donating money and influence and time to your community to create better change. And everybody can make a difference.
I've been fortunate to kind of grow up as a philanthropist here at the
Mm.
United Way and here in the community because I didn't have the money. Certainly didn't have money to give. I was raising 2 kids. I had a struggling new
Right.
business, but I felt like I had talent that I could help some of these charities, either helping them raise money or actually I used to be the treasurer for LifeNet for Families. They gave me a key. I used to go there on Saturdays and do their QuickBooks.
It is
I mean,
so
but
fabulous. It's
that's
exactly what was needed at the
right at
time,
the
right?
time. And we talk about this all the time. Our community needs everyone
Yeah.
to come to the table
Yes. Yes.
more than ever, right?
More than ever. Everybody has something to offer. And if you didn't come from a family or a background of giving back, it doesn't mean to not start now. So I'm constantly asking people to get involved.
Right.
And it can be expertise. It can be a need for a day of volunteering. It can be donating some dollars. It could be we have a need to buy books for kids that don't have home libraries. There's a whole range of things how people can get involved
Reading
in.
pals.
Yeah.
They could read.
Come and read. Oh my gosh, Reading Pals, one of the most successful programs that gets every youngster on a third grade reading proficiency level. You have to donate your time. We teach you exactly what to do. We give you the books. It is a fan favorite of volunteers, and it's a fan favorite of the kids that are the Reading Pals or the reading recipients. It's a fan favorite of the teachers and the administration for the school board. You donate an hour a week. You read to the same child the entire school year. You build a relationship with them. And through that, at the end of that school year, they know how to read. It is simple as that. One-on-one reading to a child helps that child read. And everyone that we've done Reading Pals with gets to third grade reading proficiency level. So if you're listening out there, you have some time, please join United Way. Please become a Reading Pal.
Yeah, and I mean, that's only one of the things that we're
Mhm.
tackling. I mean, after the Gulf War, we decided, we're gonna work on and it was Steve Moss and other
Yeah.
people and leaders came forward wanting to help the veterans that were coming back to our community. And we created
Yeah,
Mission
Mission
United.
United. It really started, we do a lot of community, as you know, and you've participated in these. We do community conversations where we go out to the community in all different ways and areas, and we ask the community, what are your needs? What are your aspirations for your neighborhood or your family or your church or your synagogue? And one of the things that we kept hearing, this is well more than a decade ago, was that veterans were struggling. They were coming back from Afghanistan or Iraq or Iran, and not to the life that they left, and they volunteered to serve our country. It was one of the things, it was a ripple effect that we kept hearing in every conversation. So we started with a small grant. I think it was $450,000 for some mental health services for veterans. From there, created Mission United. We realized that there was not a real system of care here for veterans. There wasn't a one open door for a veteran to get all the services that they need. We don't have we have a VA here, which is wonderful, and we partner with them and do all kinds of things together. They're phenomenal, but we didn't have a VA hospital, and we didn't have an army base or a military base here. So our veterans didn't know where to turn and what to do.
Yeah.
So Mission United just really came out of a need in our community, and we pulled experts together, yourselves and others, and philanthropists and businesses. JM Family Enterprise helped really start Mission United. We have 2 buildings now that we serve veterans out of, our Coker Center, which Mrs. Coker, she's 102 now, and
God
she
bless
gave the
her.
lead gift to build that building. We have a Veterans Resource Center. We have an apartment building in Pompano Beach where we do veteran housing out. We're going to close on an apartment building in Hollywood that we're doing veteran housing, but it has created a system of care for all veterans. And now it's in 50 other United Ways around the nation and
50.
expanding. Yeah, it's really exciting.
Right here from
Yes.
Broward County.
Yes.
So being a leader in nonprofit, and usually give advice to business and young business people here. It's important to get involved. It helps them.
I was
I mean, I
just going to say, so, a lot of people think being a philanthropist and giving back, whether volunteering or dollars, is good, right? It helps whoever you're trying to help. But you don't always see the flip side of it. It helps you as a person. It helps your family get engaged and become together and have kind of a common goal. It helps your business because you're getting involved with like-minded people and all of a sudden you're doing business with other business leaders. We know there's studies out there that when business leaders get involved in philanthropy and volunteerism, their business does better because you start to meet people. Next thing you know,
sure.
you're exchanging phone numbers, you're selling to each other, you're doing business together, you're forming businesses together. So philanthropy and volunteerism and activism in human services and in your community helps the people you're trying to serve, helps the nonprofit that you might be attached to, but it literally helps your business and your family and your own self-esteem and your feeling of giving back. There's no downsides to philanthropy. It talks about, it's one of the kind of pillars of living a happy life. When they study, there's studies. Harvard has a whole department on happiness. And when they study happiness, one of the key elements is belonging, but giving back, doing something bigger than yourself and getting involved. So look at that. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it serves everybody.
it does, and I've seen it in action. I mean, I've seen us tackle some big problems that we're not done tackling, like homelessness.
Homelessness, affordable
You know,
housing.
affordable housing. I mean, we got the business community together. We got the police, the
Yeah.
county, and we got that tent city down by,
Yep.
downtown, and we were able to empty it out. We got with the ACLU, so we did it the right way. I mean,
Exactly. They were partners with us
right,
instead
of everybody
fighting us.
suing each other, right?
Yes.
So we did it, and of course, there's still an ongoing, and we're gonna get back together, and there's new laws that are coming in, there's new administrations coming, but, it really, every time, everybody's like, "Everything's gonna change." It's like, I try not to pin my hopes on, sports teams, politicians, because I know they need help.
Yeah.
I am not gonna badmouth politicians. Yeah, I was just on the phone with the mayor of one of the cities of our fine county, and, I know he's trying so
Yeah.
hard to get things done, and I know the mayor and the county commissioners. We had one of the county commissioners sitting in your chair recently.
Mhm.
They need our help.
Yes, they do. They need our voice and they need our help. Sometimes people wanna fight their local
Right.
politicians, whether it's county commissioners, city leaders, et cetera, mayors, city managers, et cetera. Sometimes people wanna kind of fight and push back. But think about if we came together, strategized together, how much more we could move the needle, that we're actually not butting heads, that we're listening to each other, and coming up with solutions together. And I do really think that folks that go into politics, they do go in to help. But we as constituents have to hold them accountable, of course,
Right.
but we also have to lend our own expertise and we have to lend strategy and we have to work together to solve issues and
Yeah,
problems.
some of the best politicians actually, when I brought them a problem, it the funny thing is they turn it around on you and say, "Oh, perfect, you're involved."
I know.
And that's, what I've seen is, getting involved in nonprofits is not only help, yes, be happier, more business. First of all, it's taught me a lot, right?
Mm.
It's taught us conflict resolution.
Mhm.
You get in a room with a bunch of leaders, whether they be politicians, whether they be nonprofit leaders, whether they be faith-based leaders, whether all these people, police, fire, all nonprofit community,
Yeah,
profit community. There were some big profitable businesses downtown that were thinking of leaving
right?
because
Because of homelessness.
because homeless. So we all need and we came together. And you know what? You have to learn conflict
Yeah.
resolution. You have to learn how to negotiate.
And
You have to learn
compromise, right?
compromise
And
and
Mhm.
collaboration and planning. These are skills that will help your business and help you in
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah. And then in turn, we teach our children about that, right? And
Right.
our neighbors, et cetera. So there's such a positive ripple effect from engaging and getting involved, and from listening, but from sharing your voice as well. And that's one of the things that we try to do often is we try to listen to the people we want to serve. Sometimes, when you're removed from a situation, you think you have solutions, but if you're not digging in with that community, with the folks that are most affected by whatever's happening, you're missing the most important voice. They know what they need. They know how to solve. They just need assistance, sometimes influence, policy, philanthropy. So it's so important to remain grounded in the work that we do. And I think that that's always an important lesson. And Andy, you've heard me say this to you, and I can't say it enough that being a nonprofit, we're at United Way, we're a business like
Yes.
any other business. Being a nonprofit is a tax status. It is not a paradigm for running a business. So we're going to use business acumen. We're going to use strategy. We're going to hold people accountable. We're going to measure and use metrics of everything that we fund, everything that we do, so that we're running a sound business. And every nonprofit should be making a profit. Now, the profit doesn't go to shareholders or it doesn't go to the CEO. It goes back to services and back to programming and back to the community. But you have to run yourself as a business.
And these nonprofits, and I hear it all the time, oh, they have too much overhead. I'm like, no, no, wait a second. They have to compete for talent
Yes.
inside it. There is still a very tight labor
Yes.
labor market
Mhm.
right now. So they have to compete for talent. They have to pay people. That those people need to live. They need to have a place to live, and and
Um,
and those nonprofits have to buy things. They have to buy services. They need
yeah.
software. They need consultants. They need accountants. Now, a lot of times we get a lot of that stuff donated. Some of the accounting, but we have to pay them. We have to pay
Yeah.
for audits. We have to, and so there's and the United Way. Again, we're just sitting on top of the community. We're accredited, which
Yeah,
is
we were the first ever United Way in the country, in the world, to undergo accreditation. So it's called COA, Council on Accreditation. It's a very arduous process regarding governance and audits and financials and your impact in the community and just how you run your business. And they come in for a week with a team and really we undergo scrutiny. But we were the first ever United Way to be accredited and we were accredited the first time out. And every 3 years we go through that process. Again, because I want to run the highest standard business ever. And I want to hold people accountable. Our product is changing lives forever for better. And you have to have strategy to do that. And you have to have sound governance and an amazing board, which you sit on.
right.
So we're really proud of how sophisticated we are. And we're very proud of the funding that we do for other nonprofits and the technical assistance and the capacity building. We're a leader in the community and we're proud of that. But we collaborate at all levels. And that's really what creates change.
And there's more people moving to Broward County, and there's more people we need to serve. So, I mean, we I'm excited about the future of Broward County
Yeah.
and our impact.
Mm.
I think we're getting better at it. I think we're getting better at serving the people that need our
Right.
services. I mean, but we have a lot of work to do, right?
We do have a lot of work to do. And that's where you can't take your eye off the ball,
Right.
right? You've got to continue to innovate. You have to continue to change. You have to keep focused, on what your outcomes are and what you want to achieve and what you want to solve. And I think that that's important. And, you have to love the work. I love the work. And I think it's important that people have passion for what they do, but they also have to have business acumen and use strategy. And we're and I'm lucky because the board allows this. We take risks. Like you can't transform a community or what you're doing if you're not willing to take risks and you're not willing to try new ways of innovative or tackling issues or solving problems. And, we're here as a human service organization, but we're also part of the economic engine.
Yeah.
All nonprofits, we have staff that are part of the economy here, but we're also always paying attention to the economic imperatives like housing affordability. If people can't afford and they're spending 50% of their income on their housing, teachers, EMT, the people, waiters, servers, tourism, all the folks that run our community, they're spending almost more than 50% on their housing, then that means they don't have anything left over to spend in their communities.
Right.
So, we always want to look at the economy behind what we're doing as well and making sure that all people have opportunity, all people can thrive. So again, there's lots of ways that we can make a difference. And I sit on the board of the Federal Reserve on the Miami
Yes.
branch. And the reason that the Federal Reserve asked me to serve, which is such an honor, but it's that I can be that voice for people that don't always have a voice. The Federal Reserve wants to make sure that they're making monetary policy for every American and that they're not just looking at folks that are succeeding and thriving. We have to pay attention to folks that are the most vulnerable. If we as a community really take care of the vulnerable people in our county, in our nation, the more we do that, the more that everybody does better. Your business does better. You know, people are going to go buy a car. They're going to have money left over. They're going to save. They're going to open their first bank account ever instead of going to a check cashing store. The more we do for folks that are underserved and need assistance, the better that everybody's business does, the better that the economy does, and that the city, the county, the state, the nation does. So it just makes so much sense to help those because it helps everybody else at the same time.
I always tell people we have a choice. How do you want to live? How do you want to live? What community do you want to live in? Do you want to step over people and try to live a normal life? We went to Orlando that time to study homelessness. We were talking about it, like the stress that it puts on the EMTs, the stress that it puts on the police departments,
hospital
that they have to, we have to, and it's not just, certainly we want to continue progress and we want to see development. We want to, like you don't stop those things. People are always like, oh, we shouldn't have a Super Bowl because we're spending all this money. Isn't it ridiculous when we still have homeless? I'm like, no, we can do both.
Yeah,
we can send people to Mars and we can
serve. Exactly.
And we have to do that as a human race. But again, we all have to do something. I mean, I really feel passionate that and reason why I brought you on here, we talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, but you are an entrepreneur, right? And how important it is for all of us to take care of our communities.
Yeah.
And we have to be grounded in that. All politics is local, right?
Yes.
And all solutions start locally.
They do. You can start something in your own neighborhood, in your own company, in your own department where you work. That's really how change matters. And it starts to become contagious and interesting. And then you start pulling others into it. Success breeds success, right? So the more that you're positive, the more that your outlook focused on creating change, the more people you attract in that way. And then the more people are joining to create change. If you only stay focused on complaining or the problems and what's wrong, you're going to stay problem focused and you're going to mire yourself in why it doesn't work. But you know what? It's easier to be a complainer than to be solution focused. So I always ask people to get out of the complaining mode and out of the pointing fingers and judging mode and become part of the solution. It makes such a difference. And then it changes your own outlook and your family's outlook. And it really does breed happiness and success.
And the only other piece of advice I want to leave with people is that if you're going to do something for your community, you probably don't have to start your own nonprofit.
Don't start your own nonprofit. There's amazing nonprofits.
There's amazing nonprofits that need your help.
Yes.
So, go to the United Way, go to some of these events.
Yeah. And see what's happening.
Come out, and we'll help you. I mean, we have the corporate run coming up. We have the mayor's gala. We have the Magnolia luncheon always every year. I mean, we have these wonderful events where you can literally rub elbows with people from around the community and learn how you can help. We have groups for young people.
We do. We have like our next gen, which is kind of like young folks that are just starting to kind of get involved and donate and volunteer. And oh my gosh, then they meet like-minded people. We have Women United. We have the Alexis de Tocqueville Society, which is kind of the high end, but there is opportunities for everybody to get involved. We want to see you. We want to help folks, get involved. So please come out. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be United Way. It could be anywhere, but get involved because it matters.
Thank you so much for coming in. My producer was, what should we do? Oh, that's right. I have to ask you one question, one fun question. And so We'll ask a Jersey question. Is it pork roll or tailored
Oh
ham?
my gosh, it's Taylor ham. It's so funny.
It is tailored ham.
Yes.
I guess that's a North Jersey
I think
thing.
it might be a North Jersey thing because, South Jersey and North Jersey also have different nomenclature and different language. And it was funny in the board yesterday, you heard me say, what did I say? I said speaker, like instead of speaker. I said, oh my gosh, all of a sudden my New Jersey came out.
Right.
Forget
It
about
comes
it.
out
Like,
everywhere.
yeah, every now and then that North Jersey accent comes out. But that's so funny. But yeah, and bagels, Irene, there really isn't any better bagel than a Jersey bagel. Sorry, but there are some things that are just better from the North.
I had Michael Mayo here. We did talk about how the food has gotten way better down here. There's real pizza down. There's really
there
good
is.
stuff.
There definitely is.
There's lots of good stuff. So yes, but the bagel thing might still be a little bit, but there's some new stuff moving down there. So we'll see. But Kathleen, thank you for everything you do.
Goodness.
Allison and I absolutely.
Oh, I love you guys so much. And
we're so blessed to have you.
Oh my gosh. Blessed that you're on the board and all your involvement and Allison, but and you have to have fun at the same time. And that's something I love so much about you is that we have fun, even though we're working really hard. We have a good time while we're doing it. And again, that is contagious in a positive way, and that we want more people to come and join in.
So thank you. Everybody get involved with the United Way, just, and other nonprofits. There's other things that if you want to do that. So thank you,
100%.
Kathleen.
Thank you.
I want to thank Kathleen Cannon for coming in today. I really appreciate everything she does for the community, but especially taking the time out to give us some of her background and all the great things that are going on here in Broward County and how you can help. Thanks again, everybody.